You are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
He's dead, Murphy.
You have the right to an attorney.
You're reading Miranda to a corpse.
I'm having trouble.
Alright boys and girls, I hope you're all having a lovely day, okay? Today boys, I wanted to talk about ROBOCOP on the PS2, okay? I have been super duper excited about ROBOCOP over the last few weeks. And the reason for that, lads, that I'm just ridiculously excited for the game's gonna be coming out in November, okay? I think it's like the most excited I've been for a game all year. Like, I just cannot wait for that game. Just the other night, I decided that I was gonna watch ROBOCOP 2 again, which I honestly think is a pretty underrated movie. I know it's not as good as the original, but still, I think it's pretty fun. It's definitely better than ROBOCOP 3 at least. I mean, that's not really saying much because ROBOCOP 3 is terrible, but that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, I've just been in a real ROBOCOP mood, okay? So I decided, you know what, boys, I'm gonna play ROBOCOP on the PS2, and yeah, I wanted to talk about it today. I want to talk about this game and tell you how I feel about it. So here's the thing with this game, boys, okay? I bought this like maybe a couple of weeks ago. If you guys watched my video where I bought a bunch of games from CEX, this is one of the games that I decided to pick up, okay? Because I kind of knew I wanted to do a video on it. I knew very little about this game, okay? However, I did know that this game did get a pretty poor reception, okay? I knew the review scores for this game when it came out were very bad. With that being said though, lads, I'm really easy to please as a gamer. Like, it doesn't take a lot to actually make me happy. So I thought, you know what, boys, I feel like there's a good chance that I'm gonna like this game. However, this game is bad, okay? Even for me, boys, this game is genuinely one of the worst games I think I've ever played. Even with my pretty low expectations for this game, lads, I've still come away disappointed with this one, okay? Because there are just some of the things in this game that are genuinely terrible, okay? And I know it's like a PS2 game, and you kind of expect it a little bit with PS2 games, because obviously PS2 is not aged the best, okay? It's an old console, but I played the PS2 a lot, boys. It's like one of my favorite consoles of all time, and I promise you, it's not because it's aged badly. Like, this game was bad back then, I can promise you.
I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
So I'm just wondering with this one, boys, do I start with the good stuff or the bad stuff? I'm actually not sure. I feel like maybe we should start with the bad stuff because there's just a lot more to talk about, and then maybe we'll just end with a couple of things that I did like about it. There are a few things, but it's not much. So I guess I want to talk about the first impressions that this game gives off, okay? Because first impressions are everything, okay? If you give off a bad first impression, then obviously, like, things aren't going to be good, right? And this game might have one of the worst first impressions I've ever gotten from a video game. And the game kicks you off, okay, and the first thing I noticed with it is the fact that the camera is inverted. Now, that's not really a big deal, okay? A lot of the PS2 first-person shooters have, like, inverted camera. That's not really a big deal, you know? I kind of expect it. For some reason, the default setting was inverted. I've got no idea why, but it's not a big deal, okay? I think, you know what? I'll pause the game, I'll change the settings, no problem. However, for some odd reason, there's no options button on the pause menu. You actually have to back out of the game to get to the options menu for some odd reason. So I back out of the game, okay, I go onto options, I change the camera from inverted to normal, and then we go back into the game. Then the problem is, you have to sit through like 2 or 3 loading screens, and then you also have to like watch a few cutscenes, and it's like, I've wasted 3-4 minutes here, when this option should be in the pause menu. There's no way I should have to back out of the game to just look at options. So immediately, like, I've got a bad taste in my mouth from this game already, okay? It's not a massive deal, but it's just a really bad start. Then the second thing that happens with this game, lads, is just how goddamn ugly it is, okay? Even for a PS2 game, this game does not look good. Now, I suppose I can give that one a little bit of a pass, okay? Because this is like an oldish shit game, okay? So I wasn't exactly expecting it to look amazing, but I did just immediately notice this game, like, it does not look good. But you know what, lads? It's not even a big deal anyway, okay? Because I can forgive bad graphics for good gameplay, okay? If the gameplay is good, the graphics won't bother me. The problem is, though, this game doesn't have good gameplay. This game is incredibly boring to play, okay? There is absolutely nothing to it, okay? It's a first-person shooter as ROBOCOP, and you go around and you shoot enemies, and that's like the entire game. There's nothing to it. It's like a really short game. That's another thing that's bad about this game. It's incredibly short. You can beat this game in about 2 hours, and this game wasn't cheap, by the way, boys. This cost me 25 fucking quid. Alright, that's a lot of money for a PS2 game.
I think I want my money back. If you don't have my money for me, I'll crack your fucking head wide open.
I wanted to get a lot more than 2 hours out of this game, but at the same time, it was so bad that maybe I'm actually glad it was only 2 hours. Had this been 3 or 4 hours, it would have been even more boring, so actually maybe that's a positive somehow. So you might be thinking, okay, the game looks bad, it plays bad, surely there's nothing else that this game does wrong, right? No, we got a lot more to go, boys, okay, believe me. So the second thing that's really bad about this game, lads, is the frame rate, okay? If there's like multiple things going on screen, the frame rate drops to an insanely low frame rate. And again, I get that is the PS2, and I'm not expecting it to have, you know, 60 frames per second or anything like that, but it just, like, it's genuinely, like, it stutters along, and you nearly can't play it. There are times with this game where it feels like you're playing a goddamn slideshow, okay, because the game is just stuttering along, because there's, like, either too much stuff going on screen, too many enemies, stuff like that. This game at times has just awful frame rate, where it's just, like, it's borderline unplayable. One of the biggest problems with this game, lads, by a mile, is just how low budget it feels, and you just, like, immediately can tell it's low budget from just playing it, but there's a lot of little things in there that you would just think, like, it just feels lazy in a way. Like, for example, in this game, you can actually arrest people as ROBOCOP, which, you know, that sounds like a good thing, right? You think, oh, great, you can arrest people as ROBOCOP, that's awesome. However, it's really shit in this game. Basically, the way it works is you can, like, shoot the guns from the enemies. Like, if you shoot their gun, they'll, like, drop the gun, and they'll, like, put their hands up, and you go over to arrest them, and all that's great, you know, that's exactly what you want to see. However, the arresting animation isn't even an animation. You literally go up to them, and they just turn invisible. Like, there's no, like, arresting animation, there's no handcuffs or anything like that. They literally just disappear into thin air. So I want to compare this to another game on the PS2, okay, and that is Judge Dredd: Dread vs. Death, which is an absolute banger game, by the way. If you haven't played that one, you absolutely should, because that game is amazing. Now, in that game, when you arrest people, it's great, you know, you get a proper animation, Judge Dredd puts the handcuffs on, and it even gives you, like, a sentence on, like, what they've done wrong and how many years they're going to be in the slammer for. And, like, actual genuine effort went into that arresting animation, okay, and then, again, you compare it to this game, where you go up to them and they literally disappear. Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Another way this game feels really low budget is the fact that there's just zero melee in this game. There's absolutely no melee attacks in this game, which is just really odd because, I mean, it's goddamn RoboCop, you know? You'd think, like, in the movies, he goes around, he punches things and people and stuff, and it's great. And you think that would be in this game in some capacity, you know? It doesn't even have to be an amazing animation. Just a basic punch would have been nice. But you don't even get that, lads, okay? There is zero melee button in this game, and again, it's just like, they didn't even put the effort in. And you might be thinking, like, Majell, surely you've ran out of things to criticize with this game, lads, but believe me, I've got more, okay? Another problem with this game, zero checkpoints. Absolutely no checkpoints, okay? You have to play entire levels, and if you die, you gotta do them all over again. Now, I've gotta be honest, that's not really a massive problem with this game, because you won't die too often, okay? It's a pretty easy game, okay? However, there were 2 occasions where I did die, and I did have to do the entire level again, and I was like, I was just literally, like, I wanted to jump off a roof, alright? Because this game is so boring, you do not want to replay levels. I don't think it would have hurt this game to put a few checkpoints in there, you know? Some of these levels are like 20 to 30 minutes long, and if you do die, you gotta do them all again, okay? And this game is bad enough as it is, let alone having to replay levels that you've pretty much already done just because you died. Another thing that really pissed me off with this game, lads, is the loading screens. I mean, there's like too many loading screens for one. You play like 5 minutes in this game, and it feels like there's a loading screen every like 2 seconds. And that's annoying as it is, lads, but the actual annoying part of the loading screens is there's this weird beeping sound, and I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's like meant to be a RoboCop sound or something, but it is irritating as shit.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Now, speaking of annoying, lads, I think it was like the second mission into this game. It might have been a glitch, I'm actually not too sure, but for some reason, there was this guy called Kenneth Scott, I think he was called, and he just kept saying some shit about hostages, and he kept going on and on and on about hostages over and over and over again. I'm almost convinced it was glitched, but it was just weird.
There are civilians in your sector. You've got to get them out as fast as possible. There are civilians in your sector. You've got to get them out as fast as possible.
You saved my life.
There are civilians in your sector.
I get it! It's just so fucking bad, lads. I don't want to sit on this channel and talk about games I don't like, but I feel like I've got to talk about it. I feel like considering I spent so much money on this game, I feel like I almost have to do a video on it, but believe me, lads, it's just so shit. I hate almost every aspect of this game. Okay, lads, I've criticized this game quite a bit, okay, but I do want to talk about one more criticism, okay, and then we'll talk about the few things I do like about this game, okay, but probably my biggest criticism with this game, like, aside from, like, the terrible gameplay and how boring it is, the worst part about this game for me was the final boss. boss, okay? This might be, like, I think it actually has to be the worst final boss in a video game, like, ever. It is, like, the biggest wet fart of a boss I've ever played. So the first problem with this boss, lads, is there's no health bar, okay? So you don't even really know if you're doing damage to the boss. I think I probably spent about 20 minutes on this boss wondering if I was even hurting the damn thing. You're fighting against this weird, long, penis-looking thing that keeps coming out the wall. It looks like a damn glory hole going on. It'll just come out the wall and slap you in the face, like, constantly, and it'll just do that over and over and over again. He doesn't have any sort of attack variety. He does that same attack every single time, and it's not even like a cool attack. It's like one of the lamest attacks you will ever see, and yeah, you're just like shooting it, and you don't know if you're hurting the thing, and I literally, I was sat there for like 20 odd minutes and thinking, I don't know what I'm actually supposed to do here, so I end up like looking up some YouTube videos, and there's not too many YouTube videos on this game. I understand why, because it's absolutely shit, but I watched like a couple, and then I started to realize what you're actually supposed to do. It's not very clear or obvious. The game doesn't really even like help you along the way. I don't even know how you're supposed to figure it out. I don't know how these people figured it out. Basically, what you got to do, lads, is you've got to like basically stand still in the middle of the room. I don't know why. The game doesn't describe why. It doesn't tell you why. You just got to do that. And then for some reason, the boss just starts revealing his weak points because you're standing in the middle still. I don't know why it does that. It's a stupid idea for a boss, but yeah, he'll start revealing his weak points and then you can kill it. It's a dumb and shit and tedious and boring and just a goddamn awful final boss. It is just terrible. It really was just like a cherry on top of why I hated this game, you know? Like everything else combined with this, and I just knew that this was one of my least favorite games I've played all year.
This is the worst game I have ever played.
Okay then, boys, you know what? I've shouted on this game enough, okay? Let's talk about a couple of things that I like about it, okay? So first of all, the presentation of this game is actually quite good. I like the presentation of this game. Like, in the first-person view, it actually does look like you're a ROBOCOP, you know? You'll get, like, nice little rectangle aiming systems and stuff like that, and all of that is really cool. The way the story's delivered is all through, like, the news channel, which is, again, like, very accurate to the movie, which is cool. If you want to take a look at the objectives, that's all presented really nicely. It's basically how it is in the movie, which is awesome. The general sort of presentation of this game is pretty good, okay? I liked the way this game sort of, it made you feel like a ROBOCOP, you know? If the game wasn't so shit, I would actually admire its presentation. Another thing that I quite liked about this game, lads, is that if you reload with full ammo, like ROBOCOP will start spinning his gun around. I mean, it's gotten to that point, lads, I really am digging for things that I like about this game, because there really isn't much. And the only other thing, lads, that I can think of that I liked about this game was, like, the weapon variety. There's actually surprisingly decent weapon variety in this game. You would think, like, considering how low budget it is, that ROBOCOP would just be shooting people with the same pistol, but to my shock, and it really was shock, there was like multiple weapons in this game. Obviously you've got the like classic ROBOCOP pistol, you know, you'd expect to see that there, and that's pretty what you'll be using for most of the game. But then you've also got like this cool assault rifle weapon, so that was pretty nice. I think you've got like a rocket launcher, it's like a grenade launcher actually, and then you've also got this like green like pistol thing, which is like really overpowered. And that gun I tried to use as much as possible whenever I had ammo for it. And is that all the weapons? I'm genuinely trying to think here. It might be one or two more guns, but I honestly can't. I feel like that might be it. So there's not like a ton of weapon variety, but at least there is a little bit. It would have been cool if we could have maybe got like, I don't know, the flamethrower from ROBOCOP 3 or even the Cobra cannon from ROBOCOP 2. Like that would have been nice. But you know, I'll take a little bit of weapon variety in this game. You know, it is that bad that I'll take any weapon variety. But I won't lie to you, lads, that's pretty much everything I liked about this game. Other than that, I genuinely just disliked every second of it, okay? It just was not a good game. I didn't expect it to be the best game I've ever played, okay? I had pretty low expectations of it. I wanted it to just be some dumb fun, you know, and just get me a little bit hyped to that ROBOCOP game coming, but it didn't even do that, lads, you know, it really didn't.
Our expectations for you were low, but holy
Whilst I was playing it, I just wanted to turn the damn thing off, okay? And that's why I ended up watching ROBOCOP 2, because I wanted something to actually get me hyped for ROBOCOP. But yeah, that's pretty much all of my thoughts on this game, lads. Let me know if you've actually played this one, okay? Maybe you actually somehow liked this game. I really didn't. I thought it was terrible. Let me know in the comments as well, lads, if you're excited for that new ROBOCOP game coming. I cannot wait for that one. I'm just so excited for it. But other than that, boys and girls, if you're new here, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys for the next one.